Hello Matrix Live, it's the 27th of March 2020. Today we've got a slightly different format for you. We are going to be showing a series of demos that were given at our remote internal all hands. So enjoy.
Demos. I'll just give you the headlines and then we'll dive through them. So first up is going to be Keegan. He's going to talk about Dendrite and P2P. We just talked about that a moment ago. Then we've got Polio, who's going to demo the WeChat rewrite and how this relates to his work on the Rust SDK, which I believe is being used in a few different other places as well, which is super, super cool. And then finally, Ben is going to demo what he's been working on recently. And I'm not going to say any more than that.
Neil, belly dance.
Neil, I have a request. For next time, I think what would be really, really cool that you would actually introduce this with your guitar and have a proper jingle thing going on. Because it's very frustrating to just see them here. And you're very enthusiastic. So it's just the music behind it is missing. Can we have a jingle next time, please?
Does that mean that I have to do vocals?
You know, every interview that we've done this week, we've had a little guitar chat of some description with the interviewee. It's been great. Yeah. All right, so Keegan, the floor is yours.
Yay! Can people hear me? Can people?
Yes.
Let's see. Cool. Right. So if this is demoing P2P Riot, so you'll notice that this is on p2p.riot.io, which anyone can go to. You can sign up for an account, which is a bit redundant. And then I'm hoping that someone's actually got a room up there. Neil, if you hear me, please make a room. Because the only room that was there previously was one that I'm no longer a part of now. So maybe I will make a new room and then let's see if anything comes up here. And I'll make one as well, actually, because there's a 15-second timeout. So this is basically hopefully going to demonstrate, yes, Brendan's P2P layer, that the room directory now works in P2P Riot. So with any luck, you'll also be able to join a room. Come on. So yay, thank you, Brendan. And you can see that we've got some history here. So you've got backfilling working as well. So if I can get Brendan, could you make another room, please? Yeah, so okay, I mean, obviously people can join this as well. Hello, Matthew. And you can see all the Federation traffic going on through here. There's just loads of the stuff. These are some PDUs and Federation traffic. And you can change your name and display name and stuff like that. There's still a few bugs to iron out with that. But Brendan or Matthew or someone, can you please create a room and just put some messages in there? And then I will look at the room directory and then hopefully join it and see the scroll back, because obviously it seems
frantically trying to create a room.
Okay, thank you. Just because obviously having a few messages, a few little state events there was okay, but it doesn't quite fully portray the joy that is backfill. But yeah, so this is the main stuff that we've got working now. So we've got the room directory working, whereas before you could only join by an alias. And we have backfill working, which suddenly makes things a lot nicer. You can see here again your ED25519 keys here. And that's basically it. As Matthew said before, we've been fixing lots of Dendrite bugs as a result of this work, Federation and as well as CS API stuff. So if I hopefully have delayed enough time for this to show up additional rooms, that'll be good. So you can see here you've got things like outgoing requests returned, so it's hitting the Federation endpoint for public rooms. You can see all these found providers. Each one of these keys is someone who's currently on the network. And team bridges, cool. But let's hope that works. So we now join this room.
The failure modes I'm getting, Keegan, are absolutely bizarre, by the way.
I'm sure there are many failure modes, but thankfully you're not the one screen sharing. I am, and I'm fine. So this is good. So yeah, you can see the scroll back and stuff. So yeah, that's basically
the scroll back is super cool because it loads faster than I've ever seen a Matrix server load scroll back ever. Like, it's not fast enough to see a spinner. It's just boom, immediately there, which is incredibly cool.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure why. Well, I can take a few guesses as to why it's that quick, which is because we're not doing a bunch of things that we should be doing, but that will come in the future. And that's basically it. So you feel free to play with it. p2p.ride.im. In terms of how this is working is all of your traffic, all of our traffic is being proxied through a server which we run, which is the Rendezvous server. So at the moment, it's not doing full peer-to-peer. It's not doing like WebRTC style VoIP calls. It's not doing hole punching through NAT or anything like that. It's literally just relaying everything via a WebSocket server effectively, which is okay for now. But obviously, this doesn't scale as you increase the number of users. Yeah. We will improve that in the future, obviously. And yeah, that's it.
Awesome. Thank you, Keegan. Does anybody have any questions on the P2P stuff?
How do I make my room discoverable? I just create one?
You need to create a room, and you need to go into the settings for that room. And then at the bottom, it says publish this room to the public in whatever long address is room directory. You need to make that, you need to toggle that on because it does it via published rooms.
Okay.
Neil, Neil Alexander, if you're out there, is there any updates on new room versions on Dendrite? Could we have done that whole demo with V2 or V3 or V4 or V5 rooms?
I think the demo at the moment is probably running with V2 rooms as it is. The support code for room versions is now actually merged. It's finally in after several weeks. So it's just a case of now fixing things like the event signature checking and various other bits and pieces to get V3 and onwards working.
This is crazy in terms of Dendrite properly coming to life. And for everybody who just joined the demo to heckle Keegan and talk about the dark web and etc., seriously, people should understand how cool it is that you can literally get your own Dendrite like this and put it through its paces. And we should see just general Dendrite improvements across the board as we continue to press around with it. Very cool.
Very fun. Who's next?
I think that's me. So Matthew spoiled a bit of my work the other day, and I thought I should demo something different. Yeah, I gave you permission, but I forgot about the demo day. So, and we see here a WeChat that is running a Rust plugin called Matrix. Beforehand, we had a script that was running in Python. Now it's running a Rust plugin that is compiled, and it's actually working with encryption. You see an encryption test room in Riot, and we can send here messages.
So we're only seeing the WeChat on the screen share at the moment.
Oh, sorry. Oh, here it is. I don't know how to share the Riot web in my screen share, but you have to trust me that this is an encrypted message.
Can we see the logs?
You can see here, perhaps, if I share another screen. Let me just switch up here. You can see that it's uploading keys. We can see that it's encrypting. Receiving encrypted messages, and this one got decrypted. If I can perhaps now share the screen. So Matthew showed a simple program that's using a single-threaded executor, and it's just listening for messages and printing them out. And the Rust SDK in place just replaces the events if it can decrypt them. So if it's prints out messages, and I added the decryption. It just prints out the decrypted messages as well. The same thing happened in WeChat, so it had the functionality to print out messages, and now that the SDK just replaces messages, it also prints out the decrypted ones. The trickiest thing in WeChat was that we're using a multi-threaded executor, since we have one thread in WeChat and multiple threads for an executor, and they communicate with each other. So I had to make the Rust SDK thread safe over the last days, and now it's working seamlessly in WeChat as well.
So this is incredibly cool. Can we actually, is it ready for production then? I mean, can we actually use the new plugin on WeChat seriously?
Well, as you see, there's no display name support. There's no support for room display names. You can send messages and you can receive them. That's basically it.
It's still very, very cool, and I find it very amusing that presumably this means that the Python libraries are going to be unmaintained relatively again, and so we'll be on our 5th generation of Python libraries at this rate. Or are you going to try to keep Matrix NIO running as well as the Rust stuff?
Well, I plan to prototype in Python and develop and rewrite in Rust, and so hopefully it will not end up being abandoned. We do have another maintainer for the Neo library, so hopefully it won't die without me in either case.
Awesome. Well, congratulations. And there's the beginning of a brave new Rust world. Eric should be very happy. Cool. Who's next?
Cool. Okay, so for a while now, we've been interested in seeing examples of Matrix used for things other than chat and instant messaging. One of the examples that I see sometimes that people want to do is they want to be able to quickly add a news feed to an existing app. And there's all kinds of services out there that can provide this for you. Of course, you could write your own and host something yourself. But Matrix actually makes it really, really simple. So I wanted to put together a quick demo that would let developers who don't necessarily care about Matrix, but they just want a quick way of getting a demo into their app. So I put together something using React Native. React Native doesn't necessarily work off the bat with the Matrix.js SDK, but with a little bit of help from Annie from Ditto, I was able to get something put together quite quickly. And then if I show you this demo, I'm just going to start running React Native with Yarn and Expo. Oops. Then hopefully it's going to pick up my emulator. It does. And please finish loading. Yep. So if I hit A, then it's going to throw it over to my Android device. So while this is loading, what I say is what I really wanted to do was make this as simple as possible for developers. So what I've done is create a really simple bridge that basically pulls everything from a developer's existing Facebook page, puts that into a matrix room, and then is a template for how you can just throw the contents of that room over into an existing app. And in this case, I'm using React Native just because it's something that's popular with the kind of developers that are going to want to do this. So here we go. So with no styling whatsoever and no drama, this is just the dumped out contents of a matrix room. And it makes it easy to see how a developer could quickly add a feed free to a news feed for free to their existing app. I'll put out some notes on how to do that. This was all, in the time before we were all locked down, when all kinds of developers were all kinds of frivolous apps were being made. So this is the market that we want to appeal to there. Oh, and I want to say thanks, Annie, for doing the heavy lifting of getting JS SDK working with React Native. That's the demo.
It's very cool. Why is it all about mushrooms?
Oh, because the person that I was working with on this, the person who originally sort of came to me and said, like unrelated to Matrix, that they needed a quick way of doing this and did I have an idea? And I said, yes, Matrix is perfect for this. So they are running a huge mushroom foraging community, which is, it's a huge deal. I can't believe the number of people that are out foraging for mushrooms all the time, or used to be.
Well, now the mushrooms have just taken over, right? It's going to be the size of trees.
I mean, there'll be more available, I suppose.
Mushrooms over Matrix. You saw it here first. Thank you, Ben.
No problem. Thank you.
Thanks, Ben.
Any more for any more? We are only 5 minutes over. But there was one more thing. It's just
Yeah.
what it's doing.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Ah, goodness. Right. Great. We have one more thing. It's a demo that if we were to demo it to you, you wouldn't notice any difference because it would all just magically work. But Travis, you should tell the world about your Jitsi custom integration manager stuff, and it will take. I promise it'll. It's worth it just to snap it into the end of this. I know we've run over.
Yeah. So we now have a Jitsi wrapper in Riot Web that doesn't require an integration manager. Before we were using Scalar, or in some cases Dimension, or other third-party stuff that might exist. But now we don't have to worry about any of that. We can just serve it locally. It allows you to have custom Jitsis. You just put a little block of config into the config.json for Riot Web, and then off it goes. And it just kind of works.
And it's very cool. Thank you, Travis, because we've been promising to let people self-host their conferencing easily since about 2015 when we first added it with FreeSwitch. And so it is super, super cool that we finally have it there and people yell about it loud with the Riot release on Monday. Congratulations, everybody. Thank you for the demos. It's very, very cool. Should we have a weekend and stuff?
Anything else from anyone? No?
Okay.
Okay, cool. Good
luck, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
See you Monday.
Bye. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Yeah.